I'm Diane and welcome to GLP-1 Chronicles. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, thanks for coming back. So I wanted to give you an update on my weigh-in. I had mentioned in my previous video that my weight was fluctuating kind of up and down. I had had my biggest loss in quite a long time, followed by a very stressful week and a gain. And on Thursday I weighed myself again, and I had lost all of the weight I had regained and lost an additional 1.1 pounds. So my total weight loss is 114.6 pounds since I've been on GLP-1 medications since November of 2022. So I had a realization this week after my weigh-in. This is the lowest weight I've been since I got married in 2005. So it's my lowest weight in 20 years. Really crazy to think about. I almost wonder if I should pull out my old wedding dress and try it on and see what it looks like now. I'm not sure it would look quite as good as it did 20 years ago. The body has changed over those 20 years. Menopause has hit hard, and there are parts that sag that didn't sag back then. So I'm not even sure if it would fit or how it would fit if I tried it on, but I don't know if I'm quite brave enough to do that. Okay, just for fun, I decided to try my wedding dress on. It hasn't been out of the bag in 20 years. It actually fits, which is exciting. I'm obviously not wearing the right undergarments, so everything is kind of not exactly where it should be. But this part is very loose. I don't remember it being that loose. And the actual sort of, let's see if I can kind of pan down a little bit. This part is a little tighter than I remember, but then again, like I said, I was wearing proper undergarments, and I think that held me in a little bit better. But yeah, this is wild that I could actually fit into this again. It has been so long. Oh, wow, that's kind of crazy. I'll post a picture of our actual wedding day so you can see what it looked like that day. But this is, I can't believe I can put this on. Oh, but yeah, it's so loose up here. That's very weird. It's definitely not that loose the day we got married, but. All right, time to put this back in the bag, put it back in the closet where it's going to sit for probably a while longer. Pretty, it's got a pretty little detail. I love the little blue accents. That's what really drew me to this dress, was the little blue accents on the bodice. And then, yeah, weird. Oh, this is so weird. The other thing I don't remember is this dress being so heavy. I specifically bought it at the time when I got married. A lot of the dresses were really kind of big and bulky and heavy. And I remember I tried on a strapless dress. I knew I wasn't going to wear a strapless dress, but I tried one on just for giggles, and this dress must have weighed 40 pounds. I was like, even if I could wear a strapless, I wouldn't, because God, this dress weighs a ton. And we got married outside at a lighthouse, and I actually climbed to the top of the lighthouse after the ceremony to have pictures taken. There is no way I could do it in a big heavy dress. And this dress feels heavy to me, which is weird because I always felt like it was light. I mean, generally speaking, it is, but wow, God, this is just like, I know I'm freaking out here, but just kind of crazy to be wearing this again. All right, time to take it off. I'm sweating because it's warm. So when Bob and I got married in 2005, I had been doing Weight Watchers for a couple of years at that point and lost about 80 pounds. Thinking back over that time, I realized that I wasn't losing weight the right way, and was a big reason why I gained it all back and then some. I don't remember which points plan Weight Watchers was doing at the time, but my goal every day was to hit the points I was supposed to eat and not really paying attention to what I was eating. Most days I would have either a lean cuisine or one of the Smart Ones dinners for lunch, and then for dinner itself I would have a second one along with a big salad. Obviously that wasn't sustainable or cost effective, and I can only imagine the amount of sodium I was ingesting eating 2 of those meals every day. Looking back, I know that wasn't the right way to lose weight. I think our knowledge about nutrition and what we need to fuel our bodies is much better now than it was back in those days. On occasion, I still will have either a lean cuisine or a Smart Ones meal, only when I'm short on time and I need to eat something quickly. I don't make it a habit. Generally, I find that I have one after we've played pickleball on Wednesday nights. By the time I get home, it's almost 7 o'clock and I don't want to spend the time to cook anything. So, and to be honest with you, when we get back from playing pickleball, I'm not really all that hungry. So I keep a stash of those kind of meals in my freezer. So after pickleball, I'll come home, throw one in the microwave, and then I'll go take a shower. And like I said, I'm not really that hungry, but I eat it because I know if I don't eat something, then Thursday morning I'm going to be ravenous. I can't eat those twice a day every day. That's just not sustainable, cost effective, or even the best choice for me. So I've worked hard to get my nutrition on track. I try to eat more whole foods as much as I can, and you can't be perfect all of the time. I don't strive to be perfect because it's unattainable, but as long as I'm consistent, I will see progress. And like I said, I've changed some things up in my diet the past couple of weeks or so, and I'm seeing the changes on the scale. The scale didn't move for the longest time, but now it seems to be moving again, and I attribute that to being more conscious of what I'm putting in my body and trying to make everything as whole foods based as possible. I'm glad I did Weight Watchers back in the day because it did help me lose weight and give me some sort of guidance on the process. But now I'm more focused on the macros, calories, protein, fiber, and I think that works better for me as a program than something like Weight Watchers. And I'm not trying to disparage Weight Watchers. I know there's a lot of people on it and who've had great success, but it's just not the right program for me. I can't get what I need out of it. And that's why the GLP-1 medications have really turned my life around and made losing weight, I don't want to say easier. It's a tool that helps me achieve my goals that I've never been able to achieve before. I've been on a GLP-1 since November of 2022, and I've maintained this 100+ pound weight loss. Even though my weight loss has slowed down, I've still been able to maintain it. I've never been able to maintain a weight loss before. When I lost those 80 pounds with Weight Watchers, once I stopped tracking, I gained all the weight back and then some. I'm grateful for having GLP-1 medications in my life. They've definitely made a difference. My life is a lot better now. I can do things I couldn't do before. And this is the healthiest I've felt in years. I realized last week I forgot to talk about the time trial I did. A couple weeks back I did a cycling time trial, and I had done it last spring as well. And my husband Bob and another friend of mine, we've been doing it. We've been training for it for the couple of weeks prior, and it finally happened. It was a little bit up and down. The course itself was in a local park, and it's actually a loop around the park, and it's a 3.5 mile loop, and what we were doing were 3 laps, so it was 10.5 miles. And you're timed, and whoever finishes it in the least amount of time wins. Last year there were 11 participants, and 2 women and 9 men. And I finished last out of the 11, but because there was only one other woman, I ended up on the podium. I got second place, and I even got a medal. So that was interesting. This year, I think there were 17 or 18 participants, 4 women, and the rest men. I ended up 4th out of the women, so I did not get on the podium, so I did not get a little medal. My time was about 20 seconds slower than last year, but the weather was, the wind was much stronger this year. I also had some issues at the end. You wear a anklet, and it's got a timing chip in it. And every time you come across the start-finish line, it records your time for a lap. So as I was riding, I was getting notifications on my phone. I had my phone mounted on my bike about my time. So the first lap I go through, I get my time, and it's not bad. I'm thinking, okay, if I can maintain that kind of time, I'll go faster than I did last year. Second lap I come through, the wind has started to pick up. I'm slower. Third time I come through, I didn't get a notification, and I'm like, that's weird. I said, well, maybe they just didn't come through, technology. And waited and waited, and it didn't show up. Got home, and I went on the website for the results, and it said I had a DNF, which is did not finish. And I'm like, I most certainly did finish. And there was a little button on the website that says, is there a problem? If there's a problem with your results, click here. So I clicked and brought up an email. It brought up my email program. And so I emailed the timing company, and I said, your record says I did not finish. I did finish. And I said, I have proof. While I was racing, I was running a app called Strava. Strava does all kinds of workout type things. You can track if you run or if you walk, if you ride your bike, the distance and the speed and all of that in your time. So I sent the email. I said I did finish. I have my Strava results and I can send them to you. So about a half hour later, I get an email back from a gentleman from the timing company, and he said, this happens sometimes. He said, if you had the timing chip on your left leg instead of your right leg, sometimes the bike will block the signal from the timing chip to the antenna that they have set up that checks it. That wasn't the case because I had it on my right leg. And he said the other thing was that sometimes if someone gets in your way, if there's another participant that's between you and the box with the antenna, he said sometimes it won't pick it up. Okay, that might have happened. I don't know. I don't remember anybody being alongside me, but okay. So he said, send me your Strava results and I'll update the results. I'm like, okay. So I sent him my Strava and he updated it. And so he took the DNF off my name, and come to find out, I did not finish last. There was one gentleman who did not finish, and then there was another gentleman who was slower than me. So I was not last. I did not get on the podium, but I was not last. Baby steps. I was slower this year, probably by about, I think it was 20 seconds, 19 seconds, 20 seconds, which is fine. Like I said, I didn't really train for it. I didn't train enough for it. 2 weeks of training is not enough. And I hadn't ridden all winter because it was so cold and the weather was so miserable all winter. So that's fine. Unfortunately, they used to do a time trial in October as well, but they've stopped doing that. So I have to wait till next April or May. It's May because it's on Mother's Day. Next May before I can do this again. Hopefully this winter I'll be able to ride more so I can keep my fitness up and I'll be able to get a little faster. The women who finished ahead of me, there were 2 women who finished 1-2, and they did the course in 25 minutes-ish. I did it in 49 minutes. So it wasn't close, but that's okay. The woman who finished third was only about 4 minutes faster than me, and she was 70 years old. But kudos to her. That's awesome that she's still on the bike and she's still riding and she's still doing well. So congratulations to those ladies. Bob was actually supposed to do, on the same day they do the time trial, they do a duathlon, which is you do a segment of running, a segment of cycling, and then another segment of running. And he was supposed to do that with his niece. His niece was going to do the 2 running sections and he was going to do the cycling section. His niece had injured her foot and she wasn't able to run. And she wanted to be careful because she's planning on doing a marathon in October and she wanted to start training in June for it. So she didn't want to aggravate her injury before she starts training. She did the Chicago Marathon last year, and now she's doing, my dog is drinking water very loudly because that's what they do. Anyway, she did the Chicago last year. She's doing another one in October, a different marathon in October. And so she wants to rest her foot until she actually starts the training in June. So Bob talked to the organizer, said, you know, my niece is injured. She can't do her part in the duathlon. Can I just do the time trial? So they said, sure, no problem. So they transferred him over to the time trial. And he did very well. He did probably the fastest he's ever done that 10.5-mile loop or loops. And he finished out of him, me, and a friend of ours. He finished ahead of my friend, our friend. Not by much, but they did. They did it in 35-ish, 36 minutes. And then I did it in 49. The really kind of discouraging thing is that there are people who finished the entire duathlon, which was I think it was 1.8 mile run, 10.5 mile bike ride, and 1.8 mile run in less time than it took me to do the bicycle portion. But I'm not a triathlete. So how was your week? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching. See you next time.